A new variant, rising cases and stringent norms. It's happening all over again. Countries across the globe are preparing to fight another surge in COVID-19 cases driven by the Omicron variant. Although the Indian government has not yet brought it up, several indicators point at a third wave knocking at India's doorstep. In this video, we'll explain when the third wave will hit India, when can it possibly peak, and how bad can it get. First, let's talk about the numbers. See this for instance. In the last 2 weeks, there has been an exponential increase in the number of new cases. On January 5, India recorded 58,097 new cases, and our official total Omicron tally is 2,100 to date. Compare this with the data from just a week before, when the average daily cases were around 7,000 to 8,000. The total number of active cases has once again breached the 200k mark. The 7-day average for Delhi reported 5,000 new cases on January 4. This has grown 900% from the week before. Mumbai, with 10,000 new cases, witnessed a rise of almost 700%. Dr. N.K. Arora, COVID Task Force Working Group Chief, has said that the massive surge is indicative of a third wave of the pandemic. What's notable is the unpredictable rate of increase, which is even higher than the Delta-driven second wave. According to a media report, the 7-day national average has grown by 175% as of January 2. At the peak of the second wave, this number was 75%. This suggests how quickly we've gone from dwindling numbers to a huge spike. So now that we know what data suggests, when can we actually expect the third wave of COVID-19? Dr. N.K. Arora has said that the third wave of the pandemic is very much here. The R number, or reproductive number, indicates how many people will be infected by a single person. So if it is 1, then 100 people will infect 100 others. Anything above 1 indicates the virus is spreading to a greater number of people. The R number for Delhi and Mumbai has already breached 2 and is currently 2.5 for Delhi. The India-wide R value is 1.22. The last time we breached 1 was in February 2021, right before the second wave. The chief of the COVID Task Force has even compared South Africa's Omicron wave with that of India, and he pointed out something very important. He said that if we were to look at the behavior of the Omicron wave in South Africa, where it rapidly increased in 2 weeks, the number of cases started coming down, and most of the cases were either asymptomatic or had a mild illness. All these factors indicate that the Omicron wave in South Africa may soon subside. He then points out that there are some epidemiological similarities between South Africa and India. The natural infection rates in both the countries are very high, adding that, however, the immunization rates in India are several folds higher. In view of this, we may see a somewhat similar pattern in India as far as the third wave is concerned. The rapidly growing number of COVID-19 cases across the country, as well as the high R values and test positivity rates across major cities in India, including Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata and Bengaluru, indicate the onset of the third wave. M. Vidyasagar, head of the National COVID-19 Supermodel Committee, had said that India is likely to have the third wave of the pandemic in February 2022, which will be led by the Omicron variant. But when can we expect the third wave to peak? Many experts are unwilling to time the actual peak, but an IIT Kanpur study published last month put the date at February 3. But the question that still prevails is, how bad will this third wave be? Most experts say the numbers will be far higher than the Delta-driven second wave, simply because Omicron spreads further and faster. According to experts, if this third wave accelerates in India like it has across the rest of the world, India could see between 16 lakhs to 20 lakh cases every day at its peak, compared with the 4 lakh Delta cases that India had at the peak of the second wave. As per a media report, a third wave peak of 20 lakh Omicron cases could result in 60,000 Omicron hospitalizations per day. Experts reveal that fatigue, joint pain, cold and headaches are 4 common signs of Omicron that are different from that of Delta variant. Loss of smell and taste, which were common signs of Delta, were hardly seen in the case of Omicron. COVID-19 Supermodel Committee has said that the third wave of the pandemic will be milder than the second wave due to a large-scale immunity present in the country. The one silver lining one can take from this situation is that the death rate is not as severe. Studies have shown repeatedly that the new variant Omicron is highly infectious but less life-threatening. But our Omicron tally is still low when compared to the total cases and accounts for about 5% of all new cases. What could be the reason behind that? Well, to understand this, we first need to understand what genome sequencing is. It helps determine the genetic makeup of an organism, which basically indicates whether it's the Omicron variant or not. According to reports, the key Union government lab NCDC responsible for sequencing is so swamped that it's asked states to stop sending it samples. For the past year, labs have been sending the NCDC samples to check for the presence of key variants of concern, and since December, Omicron. It was tasked with sampling 5% of all COVID cases, but has only managed 1%, primarily due to a shortage of funds and tools necessary to rapidly scale up. The samples are supposed to be diverted to other labs, but we only have a few that can do this kind of work. Hence, we don't have the correct clarity or numbers of how many of the present cases are actually Omicron, in spite of experts repeatedly indicating that we're in the midst of a third wave fueled by Omicron.